In this video, we're going to take a look at the new Magicshine SEEMEE R300 radar taillight combination. So this is very similar to the Garmin Varia. And if you've subscribed to my channel for any length of time, you'll know that I swear by using a radar when riding on the road. I think everybody who rides a bicycle on the road needs to have a radar and a mirror or some way to look behind them. So my Garmin Varia 515 I have had for several years, and that thing has gone through so many charge cycles, probably like 500 charge cycles. And the battery is starting to wear down like any electronic device. So Magicshine sent this to me to review, and I'm going to show you, coming out of the box, but more importantly, we're going to test it out. So I've got a group gravel event starting in an hour and a half. So I'm going to get this thing up and running. I'm going to charge it before I head out. Inside the box, you're going to have the radar, and I'm sure you're going to have some charge cables. Most likely it's going to be USB-C. So there is the radar and light. So what's nice about this is not only has the blinking light here, but it's also got some side lights for some side view. So I like that. I'm going to see how quickly I can get this paired to my Garmin Edge 1050, and we're going to test it out on a ride. So let's see what else you get in the box. So this is the box with the cables and the mount. So there's your mount. You get two mounts. This mount will be for an aero seat post, and then this is the mount for a normal seat post, which is what I'll be using on my bike today. And then you do get a USB-C charge cable. Before I put it on the charger, I do want to show your charge port is there on the side. It's got a little rubber cover to keep water from getting into it. So let's charge this little guy. All right, I've got about a 45-minute charge on this thing before we head out. Let's go ahead and peel this off. I'm going to power it on. Oh, that's bright. Let's turn it that way. And then I'm going to see how quickly I can pair this. So on the Garmin, let's go to Settings, Sensors. Let's go to Add Sensor, Search All. So you see the lights on the top there? That's radar, that's power. I guess I can turn the radar off. I'll report back after I use this thing. So it looks like I can turn the radar on and off by holding on that for a couple seconds. So let's tap radar there. Let's go to add. And it's done. All right, now it is time to get out and go for a ride. I'm just going to see how this works as far as, doing the lights and stuff like that. So I'm going to start a ride right now, just see if the radar comes on. So let's start recording a ride. Okay, so it comes on, so that's good. So this will power off, I think, when we end the ride, and then it'll come on when you start the ride. So I'm going to go here and just see if perhaps, okay, flash. Okay, perfect. I like that. This was something that I did not have on other Magicshine radars, so now I can control it from the Garmin. I'm learning all this as you're watching this video. This is real time. So I can go to off for the lights. I can go to solid. I can go to flash. Peloton means it's going to be dimmer, I believe. We'll check that out later. Let's just keep it on flash. So that is really cool. So I'm going to see if I can change maybe some of the patterns of the light. I don't know if I can. Oh yeah, so I'm just pressing the power button. Again, this is real-time learning. To change the different light modes. So that's really bright, solid. That's flashing, or kind of a pulse. And then I'm going to leave it on that. That's probably my best one. Again, I like how there are lights on the side. Let's go to off, see if that works. Yep. Let's go back to flash. Okay. It is time to get out on a ride. All right, reporting back on the Magicshine SEEMEE R300 radar taillight 6 months later. Yes, it's been 6 months since I recorded the intro to this video, because there are some pieces of gear, especially safety related gear, that I like to thoroughly test. Before I would ever recommend something like a radar to you, I'm going to test it out to let you know if it's worth buying. Overall, I would say it's been a very positive experience. Unlike the Magicshine radar that I tested a few years ago, this was okay, but I tried using this with my new Edge 850 today, and it would not pick up a car. So this one has worked really well. The only downside to this is that you get false positives. And that means basically it's showing that there's a car behind you and there's really not. And it happens, sometimes I could go 20 minutes without it happening, and then sometimes it would happen a couple times within a couple minutes. Now, the positive though is that this radar actually picks up cars earlier, sooner than any other radar that I've used. And there's been times when it's picked up a car and I've looked in my mirror and the car was way back, more so than, for example, my Garmin 515. The other nice thing about this radar, well, two other things, is the side light. So I showed that at the beginning of the video where it's got lights on the side. So, you know, cars approaching from the side will be able to see you better with this. And also it's a metal housing. So unlike the 515, the Garmin 515, which is all plastic, this is metal. So in theory, it's going to be more durable. And I've not dropped it or crashed with it, but I like the fact that it's metal. Now, it does weigh a little bit more. So the R300 came in at 114 grams versus 72 grams of the 515. Now, I also have the 715, which has a built-in camera. That's a lot heavier. I don't know the exact weight. But this is heavier because of the metal housing. Real quick, I'll show some basic functionality of the radar. So on the top, you've got the buttons. I mentioned earlier that you can turn the radar on or off. So you do that just by holding down the radar button for about a second or two. That'll shut the radar off. So you may want to do that if like you have another radar on your bike and you only want to use this as a blinking tail light, because I never recommend riding without a radar. And then turn it back on, same process. Just hold that down for a couple seconds. I already showed how you can turn the lights to different modes, turn it off. I like daytime flash. I always use a blinking taillight, even in the daylight. So daytime flash is pretty bright. In fact, I'm going to show my test where I get in my car, and I'll show what it's like coming upon this from a car. Okay, so here's my test where I get in my car and I put the bike on the side of the road. And you'll see when I get close to it, like you can already see the light. So Magicshine claims 300 lumens and 260 degrees of viewing. And you'll see that the light pattern changes as the car gets closer. It flashes real quickly, and that's very similar to the Garmin's. So again, using it with the 1050 was really good. It picked up cars really quickly. The false positives is really the only negative of this unit. So why would you pick up this over the Garmin 515? Well, you know, I would say price, but this is $130 and you can get the 515 for $140, $150. I think the metal housing and the side lights is the main advantage over picking up a Garmin. This, I do not get any false positives. So if that's an issue, go with Garmin. Go with a native Garmin. That's kind of, you know, the decision you got to make, right? You want side lights and a metal housing, maybe picking up cars sooner for the most part. There was only one time where it picked up a car. I felt it was a little too late. I still had time to look at my mirror and react if I had to, but that only, out of 6 months, it only happened one time. Overall, it picked up cars fine. So yeah, it's kind of a trade-off, right? You know, this is lighter. This you don't get false positives, but you don't have the side lights. It's all plastic. Now, I've been using this thing for years and it's been great. Still works great. So I can't tell you what this is going to be like in 2 years, but after 6 months, it's been fine. So that's my review. And by the way, I did talk about the mount. So it is a quarter turn mount, just like the Garmin. So all you have to do is put it in there, and you know, really easy to take on and off the bike to charge it. And I found the battery life, I forgot what they claim, but whatever they claim, I found it very accurate for this. So I'll put that on the screen, what Magicshine claims for battery life. Not been an issue. So yeah, that's my review of this unit. Like I said, there's some good things about this, and it is a radar that I could recommend if you want to put up with those false positives. For some of you, it's going to be a deal breaker. For others, you know, you kind of get used to it, but it is an issue. Whereas this one, there are no false positives at all. So that's my review of this. I'll leave a Link in the description below if you want to check one of these out for yourself. Any other questions or comments? Drop those below. Thanks for watching.